In the stories of Greek mythology, some names resonate like thunder: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. But at the heart of Olympus, a silent presence watches, a goddess without war, without conquest, without chaos. And yet, without her, no home stands. This is the story of Hestia, the forgotten flame. In ancient Greece, the hearth was never just a few embers in the fireplace. It was the invisible center around which all existence was organized. In every home, in every city, a flame burned, quiet but essential. It didn't only light the walls, it connected the living to the gods.
This fire was a symbol, a beating heart, a living soul. Around it, life took shape. When a child was born, they were presented to the hearth to be welcomed into the family. When someone passed, it was beside this flame that people mourned their absence. Every prayer whispered, every offering laid down, passed through that flickering light. And behind that flame stood a presence, Hestia, invisible, but everywhere. She didn't reign from a throne or from the heights of Olympus. She lived where humans breathed, where families formed and protected one another. A silent guardian, she watched without ever showing herself, shielding homes from the chaos of the outside world. In every city, a sacred hearth also burned in her honor, a reminder that the community itself was one great family, bound together by fire. This wasn't a mere tradition, it was a sacred bond between humanity and the divine. Before honoring Zeus or any other god, it was she who was invoked first, and when the rituals ended, it was still to her that the final thought returned. Because without Hestia, no flame endures. In the ancient stories, everything begins in the shadow of the Titans. Before the gods of Olympus, before the divine wars,
Hestia is born of the union of Cronus and Rhea. She's the firstborn, the first light in a lineage destined to shake the world. But this birth brings no joy, because Cronus knows his fate. A prophecy foretells that one of his children will overthrow him. So he makes a monstrous choice. One by one, he devours his own children. And Hestia is the first to disappear, swallowed, erased, plunged into a silent void. Time passes, years stretch on in the darkness, until the day another child escapes this fate, Zeus. Grown into adulthood, he challenges his father. He forces him to return what he stole. One by one, the lost children return to the light. But Hestia is the last to emerge. The firstborn becomes the last freed. And so a unique paradox is born. She is at once the eldest and the youngest, as though she existed outside of time, between beginning and end, between birth and rebirth. This is not simply a story of survival. On Olympus, everything is desire, power, conquest, domination. The gods clash, love, and betray one another, driven by burning passions. Every glance conceals an ambition, every alliance a strategy. But in the middle of this chaos, one presence defies all the rules. Hestia wants nothing. No throne, no recognition, no influence over the fates of mortals. She simply exists. And yet, even in this absolute stillness, she draws others in. Her beauty is not dazzling like Aphrodite's. It is more subtle, more profound, almost intangible. A gentle flame, impossible to possess. So even the gods draw near. Apollo, master of light, desires her. Poseidon, lord of the oceans, pursues her. Two powers, two forces capable of shaking the world. But faced with them, Hestia does not tremble.
She refuses. Without anger, without fear, without hesitation, an absolute refusal. In a world where everything is bought, conquered, or forced, she chooses something else. Freedom. She makes a silent vow before the gods themselves, never to belong to anyone, to remain untouched, inviolate, independent. This choice sets her apart, because where other gods are slaves to their desires, Hestia becomes master of herself. And in a world ruled by passion, her absence of desire becomes her greatest strength, a strength invisible but unshakable. In the stories of Olympus, violence is the norm. Zeus wields his lightning bolts, Hera weaves her schemes, Ares sows chaos across the battlefield. Every god fights, every goddess plots, every immortality is measured in power and domination. But Hestia does not fight. She never takes sides in the quarrels of the divine. She never descends among mortals to claim glory or honor. Her strength lies elsewhere. She remains where the flame burns, at the center of every hearth, at the heart of every home, in the silence of evening vigils and prayers, invisible but present, calm but essential. Unchanging despite the turmoil of centuries and gods, it is this absence of conflict that makes her unique. Far from the schemes of Olympus, far from battles and spectacular sacrifices, she watches in silence, protecting what truly matters: life, family, peace. And perhaps it is for this discretion, for this deliberate withdrawal, that she remains one of the most forgotten goddesses. Rarely celebrated, rarely depicted, often absent from stories of conquest and war. And yet, without her, no home would stand. Without her flame, no prayer would find a refuge. Hestia is the goddess who does not fight, but whose silent power outlasts every weapon on Olympus. On Olympus, one unchanging law reigns. 12 seats only, not one more. Every throne is disputed, every position coveted. Then the time comes for a new god, Dionysus. His wish is simple, to join the sacred circle of the Olympians. But Olympus has no room for him, not as long as Hestia holds her seat. Tensions rise, whispers become shouts, quarrels threaten to tear apart the kingdom of the gods. And in the middle of this storm, Hestia, true to herself, chooses silence. She could fight, she could assert her right, but that is not her role. So she steps aside, without a fight, without anger, without complaint. She surrenders her seat on Olympus to prevent discord, to preserve the fragile balance between the gods. An unseen but colossal act, a silent sacrifice that few gods would have had the strength to accept. In her withdrawal, Hestia reveals a truth that no battle can teach. True power is not always found in domination, but in the wisdom to know when to let go. And so the throne she once held disappears, but her flame keeps burning, not in the noise of divine palaces, but at the heart of every home. A reminder that some sacrifices build peace, without fanfare, without glory, but eternally. Unlike the other deities of Olympus, Hestia has almost no temples, no towering statues, no sanctuaries adorned with marble and gold, no grand ceremonies, because she needs none of that. Her kingdom is not built of stone or palaces. It does not stretch across conquered cities or lands. It lives in what is closest to people, every home, every hearth, every flame flickering in the dark. She is present wherever life unfolds, silent but essential. When a mother warms her child, when a family gathers around the fire, when prayers rise through the quiet of the evening, Hestia is there. She is not at the summit of Olympus, caught up in the disputes and ambitions of the gods. She has no need for crowns or thrones. She is in every breath, every gesture, every moment of peace at the heart of a home. Hestia is not a goddess who dominates or conquers. She protects, supports, watches over. Wherever a flame burns, her essence remains, invisible, silent, unchanging. And in this quiet but vital role, she stands as one of the most powerful of all. Because to be everywhere, in every home, in every heart, is a strength that neither war, nor ambition, nor throne can ever match. Even today, Hestia remains a subtle figure, almost invisible. In modern culture, her name lights up only a handful of side stories. She appears briefly in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and is occasionally mentioned in TV series like Xena, Warrior Princess, or Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. But each time, she stays on the margins, never at the center of the plot, never in the spotlight. Her role is that of a protective shadow, silent and constant, present without being seen. Perhaps that is faithful to who she is. Hestia never sought glory or attention. Her power lies in her discretion, in the permanence of her flame, unseen but indispensable. In a world that celebrates the spectacular, war, and drama, Hestia reminds us that some forces don't need to be seen to be essential. She embodies quiet presence, stability, the peace that endures when everything else is in turmoil. Even forgotten, her flame keeps burning, a silent witness to the heart of homes and communities. And it is in that invisibility that her greatness lives on.
In a world of noise, Hestia is the silence. In a world of war, she is the peace. She does not destroy. She does not conquer. She endures. And sometimes the greatest strength is not to shine, but to keep burning in the shadows. If this chronicle pulled you into the forgotten secrets of the gods, subscribe to Chronicles of Shadows. Because some stories don't ask to be seen, they wait to be revealed.